Are we live? Are we live? We're live! And it's Tuesday night here in New York, upstate New York. So, I'm really excited about today. I've been looking forward to this for a while. I've been talking to a lot of musicians over the past couple months. So much has changed for us because a lot of the performers have had to really pivot. And even us that normally work from home, composers and engineers and songwriters and top liners, like there is still so much that has changed for us. So I've been really interested to hear people's stories and hear what's shifted for them, as well as just kind of talk about like what does it look like for other musicians in the world right now. And so we've got a great lineup of 7 or 8 musicians that are all in the AMPLIFY membership community, which is a really, really powerful monthly coaching community where I'll be talking about it a little bit. You're going to have an opportunity to join. I'm excited. So I just want to get right to it and invite on our first guest, Charmin Natoli. So let me bring Charmin on.
Hi. Hello. Hi.
How are you? Do we like
I'm
the
very
green
good.
Amplify background? Do we like it, the amplifier?
I like it.
I'm a big...
I do. You like white?
I just like teal so much. I actually have a light back there when I turn it on. It's not on right now. It goes teal too. I'm kind of obsessed. So Charmin, first of all, tell us where in the world are you? Are you married? Tell us about like what's actually happening. Our home life is so much more important nowadays, right? Because it's like all there is. So give us a picture of that, a snapshot.
Okay, I'm from New Jersey. Born and raised in New Jersey, but now I'm about 20 minutes outside of New York in a town called Garfield, which I always tell people is a great mix. I got a great big backyard and I can still jump on a bus and be in New York in 20 minutes if I want to, which I don't right now, but I will again. I will again.
Yeah, totally get that.
I have been with my husband now for almost 50 years. We've been working together and weather the storm and the changes in the music business. Lots of wonderful experiences and growth. It's all good. We haven't killed each other. We've been getting along really very well during this whole thing. And I'm down with it because I'm like you. I guess I'm an extrovert introvert. I like talking to people, but I really get off on doing my own work by myself. I really do. It's cool.
Yeah. I call myself a social introvert, but introvert, extrovert, there's lots of different ways to call that. And I also love that your bar for success in a marriage is that you haven't killed each other yet. And I would actually I joke, but I'm kind of like, oh, I see you, girl. That's me too. Like literally me too.
Yeah.
Like no one's left. We have an amazing marriage. No one's left.
Yeah. I think it's just, we get along in the important things. We've done a lot of terrific creations together, just had a lot of wonderful experiences that way. I pick my battles. I don't fight them all. Yeah.
Those are wise words. I like to think I pick my battles, but I pick all the battles. So I don't know.
That's a type A. That's a type A. I'm an A-. So
well, tell us about your music career, because you built that in a long-term thing. So give us that path.
Oh, so are you hearing me? My sound. Yeah. Okay. All right. So when I graduated with a music degree in classical music. And then joined a band and found that this wonderful classical background didn't give me what I needed in a band setting. I was a good reader, but I had to really develop my ears. One thing led to another. Different bands and experiences led me to work with my husband. Eventually, I fell in love with jazz, with certain artists that I resonated with sound-wise. And I just would see people and I would say, I want to do that. See how he's playing Misty in 5 different keys there? I have no idea how he does that.
Favorite song ever.
It's a lovely song.
It's my dad. It's my dad and my song. Yeah, I love it. Oh, sorry. Carry on.
Lots of changes, lots of this stuff. I wanted to know how to do that, and I literally just shut the phones, had no TV, and I just went into practice mode and practice and practice. And I taught public school intermittently. I never stayed the whole time. I would do 5 years and literally burn out, because that's the way I do it. I burn out, and I don't pace myself. And in the meantime, I had a number of different jobs, from folk music to when I joined Alfred. When I met him, he had 4-inch alligator boots, and they were up to his knees. And he came to see me with no shirt, long hair, overalls, and it was love at first sight.
Wow.
And I love those boots. I wish I had them now. But wow. And then we changed, and he's older than me, and we went to jazz, which was what he had started with. And for me, that was a big leap, because I was like, girl from where? Ipanema? What the hell is that? So, and it was just a joyful journey. My first song I had recorded with Alfred was for Frank Sinatra, and I knew very little with Frank Sinatra, but that was just a question of taking a leap of faith, saying yes to a challenge. And there I was one day, gazing into the blue eyes and having the song recorded.
Wow.
You know,
but that's like the dream.
It was, but I was there, but I didn't have my tools in place. I didn't have my self-esteem, my confidence. Some people have a very wide fact-finding quotient. They feel like there's always another course out there. I can't do this till I learn how to do this. I can't take a solo career till I take 5 years of voice lessons. I can't. And it took me a long while to transition to where, yes, I can do it,
Yeah.
So
what got you to that? Yes, I can. Like, what was a, catalyst for that?
So I was a very good music teacher. I knew that, but I was getting tired, getting ready to retire officially. I started researching procrastination, and I met Deborah Horowitz in your group.
Yeah.
And I'm going back like 4 or 5 years, who was starting her own group study in procrastination and perfectionism. And we did some very serious work. And I took a leap of faith again to invest in myself, because I believe in investing in yourself, and did some serious work and started writing this project I had conceived of. I'm embarrassed to say, but also happy to say, a good 20 years prior, a project called Bloom. And within that project called Bloom, I was writing songs about what took me so long. And that's what I was writing, and that's what each week we were talking about. And I realized a lot of people have that. It's not just me. A lot of people have that, Yeah. So, and then as that mushroomed, and it's always, Cheryl, it's the writing, and then that was phase one. And then how do I get it out there? What am I going to do? I started performing it, but I knew it took a whole lot more. But I knew I was afraid of it. So I looked around, and there you were. and Amplify, was
I'm everywhere.
But it was, I took a bunch of courses, and it's really just now that it's locking into place. And hey, I'm no kid, but I'm a big believer in this is my time, and I'm just going to go for it. And there's people like me out there. There's other people that this is our time, and we're going to go for it. Yeah,
I think we're going to hear from several of those people on this call. Yeah. And I didn't know that Bloom, because we all in Amplify know about your Bloom project and the course you're creating on time management for seniors, and taking this experience that you had. But I didn't know it's been a 20-year in the making project, and I totally love that. And I think some of the most successful programs, teachings, communities are led by people who have been there and done that and really relate, instead of someone that learned about it and is teaching it. So I think that you have a very successful path ahead of you. I know you've got one behind you, but I think you got one ahead of you too. So I'm so excited to hear yeah, I'm just really psyched that you're here. And yeah, Charmin is one of the originals. So this Amplify used to be in the key Elite, which was the name of we met once a month as a monthly mastermind. And when you say it was 4 or 5 years ago, I started it 4 years ago. So that was that, and Deborah was there, and there were a bunch of us
I
in there.
remember.
But yeah, you're one of the lifers. So
I remember.
Yep. So I'm so glad that you're here, and it's been really remarkable to see. I mean, I don't think I heard about Bloom, the music, or the course until this year, when we really picked up and started meeting more often. And I don't know, there was what happened for you there? What were you feeling around, like, it's time to get Bloom out, especially around like COVID and the pandemic and stuff? How did that fit into it?
Well, I wish I had it more together, because I did the course. I'm not going to live in the past, but that would have been a perfect time to launch the course. But I had no following. I have lots of acquaintances, but no following. So I had to really learn. It's a mental thing. I had to learn through Amplify in the key of Elite at the time to ask for what you want, and to have content ready, and actually believe that I had something to offer. And in the market, in the Rock Your Email, I had a big problem with that, because I wasn't raised to blow my horn. I wasn't raised to say, hey, I got a story for you. It just wasn't my nature. But I'm changing my way of thinking to say, like, it's all part of the package. And yes, I have something to offer people who come to me and say, geez, I always wanted to. And it's a terrible thing to be at this point in your life with that many regrets. It's just, especially for things like, I always wanted to dance tango. What?
In the world of tango music.
In the world of YouTube, there's just no excuses. And that was like, we didn't have YouTube way back when, so I have a very dear friend who just decided, I'm going to go dance tango in Buenos Aires for 6 months of the year, and that's what I'm doing, and try to stop me. And I love him for it. Like, why not? Why not? There's and the other thing you have to learn, you have to claim it. You have to claim that I'm doing this. You have to claim your time. You have to claim your priority. You have to say, like, I'm investing this in myself because that's what I want to do. And, it's a different mindset, and it just has this amazing feeling that just makes me smile and want to put on red lipstick and dress up, instead of living in my pajamas. I feel so alive. I really do. It's just, you can't put a price on it. So
you have a contagious energy. You're like one of the most real people I've ever met. And it's a joy to have you in this group. And thank you for sharing your story. I want to make sure that we get your website in the comments. So I'm going to, hold on, let me get the comments out. Tell us where we can find you, Charmin. Okay.
My website is www.charminnatoli.com. which has all the information on it.
Great. Went to Facebook and YouTube and the magicalness of the internet. I love it. Right. Next up, we're going to invite Keisha on. And I just love that we are... I love that your whole program is called Bloom, because I think that Bloom is just like another word for amplify. It's like taking something... It is. And then, blowing it up, exploding it, a seed, a thought, an idea, a career that you already have. And just, how can we open these petals a little bit more? So I feel very aligned with everything that you're up to. So I'm glad. Yeah,
I just want to say, Amplify is about the tools. Yes. But it is also about the energy, the mindset, the feeling that you are alive and moving and not just settling back. And it's just a wonderful feeling. You get all that. So thank you.
Well, you're so great. I'm going to put a little, I'm going to do a little ticker down here. So anyone that's watching, that's curious, like, what are we talking about? This is a membership. A monthly membership is $37 or $27 if you buy for the year. And it's coaching and resources and basically taking what you're doing and just doing it more effectively.
It is.
And so, Charmin, thank you so much.
I'm going
to wish you a good night, and thank you. And I'm going to take a sip while we get Keisha ready here. And I'm going to add Keisha to the live stream here. We're right on time. I've got 8 people, 9 slots to keep on time here. So I think we're cranking. And here she is. Hello.
Hi.
So Keisha knows that we always talk about champagne wins in Amplify, like the specific goals. So I was like, I don't really drink a lot. The way I talk about champagne wins, you think I would, but I normally, like, if I'm going to have a glass of wine in the middle of the week, I really I'm not a nighttime person. It's like 4 or 5 o'clock when I want it. But today it hit like 5 minutes before this. And I was like, you know what? We're going to get a little Prosecco because it's kind of like champagne. And we're talking, all these musicians have had all these champagne wins. So Keisha, you're bringing out the champagne win in me.
Wow, that's exciting. I wish I didn't grab my glass of wine, but that's okay. We'll just have some water.
You could grab your glass of wine. That's totally fine. I mean, while you seriously go grab. Mary Beth is here. I just want to say hi to the people watching. Wanda's watching. Hello. Mary Beth's going to go look at Charmin's website. Absolutely. She's such an inspiration. I love that. Anyone watching, tell us where you are. It's always so fun we're so distant. It's kind of fun to think, oh, that's in the United States. There's a map. We are on the same planet together. So Keisha, tell us where you are. You live near a lake that isn't yours.
I do. I live in South Carolina, a small town called Sumter, South Carolina, like right smack in the middle of the state. But yeah, there are a lot of ponds, and I don't live on a pond, but there's like 4 in my neighborhood. So whenever I walk my dog, I pass a pond that's not mine.
I love your Instagram lives, and you're like, I'm walking my dog today, lady, right? Lady, I'm walking lady. And then you're always like, and here's another pond. It's not mine, but I get to look at it. And so it kind of became like a theme of like, oh, here's another, not my pond.
Yeah.
Which I think is very amusing. But, so yeah, you've been doing music for forever. You're in a musical family. You've had that kind of support. So tell us your nutshell snapshot of who you are, because I love your story.
Oh yeah. So my dad is a jazz guitarist, and he has been a professional musician my entire life. So I came up in music. I used to play the bass. I played the upright bass in high school, and switched to electric bass when I went to college. So I wasn't sure when I graduated high school if I wanted to go into music. So I started applying to military academies, and it was really interesting. I was like going on interviews with congressmen and doing like my military academy like interviews. At the same time, I was like auditioning for music programs. So
wow, so interesting.
Yeah, it was.
And were you just like hoping that whichever one you got accepted to or like called first, you just be like, cool, that's like, how are you going to make that decision? Because they were so different.
Yeah. So I ended up I got into West Point. So I decided to go to West Point because I wasn't sure if I wanted to pursue music for myself or if it was just kind of like a family expectation. So I went to West Point, and that's when I started playing electric guitar because I couldn't bring my upright bass with me. And just kind of found my way back to music while I was in the Army. So at West Point, there was like this hazing ritual. It's not like bad hazing. They just call it hazing, but we had to deliver laundry. And, while you're delivering the laundry for the upper class cadets, they could stop and ask you questions about stuff that you're supposed to have memorized. Sometimes the upperclassmen just like to mess with you and ask you random questions. So they asked me if I came from a military family, because a lot of people were legacy people. So I was like, no, my dad's a musician. And they were like, oh, we'll sing one of his songs. And I was like, he's a guitarist. I was like, so that didn't fly. So they made me sing something. And then they were like, what are you doing here? You should be somewhere singing. And then the next thing I knew, like the next time the Glee Club auditions came around, one of my classmates drugged me to the audition, and the Glee Club director was like, what? A girl who can sing and read music? Where am I? Because at the time was about 13% female. So the pool of, I guess, talent was very small. So yeah, so that's kind of how I found my way back to music. So I ended up serving 5 years in the Army, and then I got out and went to grad school and got an MBA with a music business concentration. So that's kind of, actually, Cheryl, that's kind of how we met. One of my instructors was Chandler Coyle, who used to recommend your stuff like as good like marketing information in some of our courses. So
oh my God, Chandler's the best. We sat on a panel at South by Southwest and just sort of stayed buddies. But your story is amazing so much. First of all, thank you for your service. And I love that and West Point is literally like 40 minutes south of where I live. And my husband has a few friends that taught there, so we would go there a lot and sort of get the tours, and it's in a really remarkable place. So it's really neat that you had that. I mean, and my first job out of college was scuba diving for the government because I had a biology degree, and then sort of found my way back to music. And I feel like that's the thing. And I also have my dad's upright bass in my house because he was an upright bassist, and he went to Cornell and was like, there are no electric basses at the time when he went to college. And I have a box of letters he wrote to his parents, my grandparents, once a week. And I have a box of his letters that my aunt found. And they're all, the first year and a half he was at Cornell in Ithaca, New York, and they lived down in Westchester, New York, like a 4-hour drive. The first year and a half of letters were him. He was like the nicest, kindest, like, had these cute little, very quiet man, like brilliant engineer, but every single letter was like a passive aggressive, like, hey, I think I need to buy a station wagon. Because Cornell, if you don't know, is all hills up and down. And he would roll this upright bass all over to all his gigs. And like, so he was always like hinting to his parents, like, hey, can you help me can you pitch in so I can get a station wagon? And I think he ended up finally getting one. But when you're like, I couldn't take my upright bass, I was like, I think I understand that. I read all these letters. So that's so amazing. So you ended up in music. I can see all of first of all, you're like the poster child for Amplify, because look at all the amplifiers behind you.
Yes, I have a stack of them.
I know. Oh my gosh. You're like, that's so perfect. So yeah, what do you got going on now? What's coming up next for you?
So right now I am helping my dad kind of convert his old school music business into like, I guess current day stuff. And then I just recently started doing my own music. So I released a single in March, and I'm releasing a EP soon. So So I'm really excited. I've been kind of working with my sisters and with my dad. But yeah, I actually joined Amplify, I think in December or January, because I just wanted the support to be able to do things on my own. So
have you been getting it?
Yeah, that and then some. So I even found some collaborators and all kinds of stuff. So
that's awesome.
I know.
I did not plan that question for Keisha. I was actually like a little nervous right before I asked her. I was like, I hope I'm just here. So that's so exciting. New music is always so exciting, especially when you've been in music for so long and then you found your voice, and it's always changing too. I was a classical piano player and like tried to write. I wrote a lot of piano songs when I was like 5, writing piano songs. But when I started writing lyrics to the songs, it was all about rainbows and unicorns. And it just didn't work for the times. I think I was a little ahead of my time. But it's, I think it took a while. It actually took me taking a poetry class in college before I was able to write a lyric that I felt like wasn't the worst, cheesiest thing in the world. So it took a while to find that voice, and then actually more years to even record it. So, but I remember the feeling being like, ooh, I've been doing music forever, but this is very different when it's coming from you. So it's exciting.
Yes. And I forced myself to do the EP, and I decided to do it all covers just so I wouldn't use the excuse of I don't like my songs. So yeah, and that was
so self-aware that you're like, I know how I'm going to trip this up. And it's going to be all about my songs. I need to get a record out, and it's going to be covers. But that's a very clear next path to your own songs. Once you've gone through taking out some of the unknowns of releasing a record, then you can add in the unknown of whether or not you like your songs.
Yeah, exactly. So
I love
and actually, yeah, I got started with poetry as well. So
oh, interesting. Look at our little
I know. Yeah, I think I was gonna say, like, I think your philosophy on finding your avatar is kind of spot on, especially with me. And I'll tell you this funny story. Like, I'm in Rock Your Email List, and I was at my mother-in-law's house listening to one of the modules, and my mother-in-law thought I was listening to a video of myself.
I can't even tell you how that makes. I'm so happy about that. I might maybe on this, maybe I share my secret of my avatar. So for those of you watching that don't know what an avatar is, it's your ideal fan or your ideal client or the person you're trying to attract into whatever you're doing. And I have an avatar for my music. Her name is Molly for fans of my music. And then I have an avatar for my composing. So for film producers or people that are going to hire me to write music, choir directors. But I also have an avatar for musicians, the people I want to attract into this group that are open-minded, have something under their belts. There's some, and her name is Piper. But in my head, for a very long time, since probably like February or March, Piper's never had a face, but she's been you know those apps where you can combine two people and it becomes like one? I'm going to share. It's been a Keisha mixed with Ann Stott. That's what my avatars look like. So it's that is so my heart is like filling with joy right now. Filling with joy. So excited. So tell me, I'm going to type in the chat box for everyone to where can we find your music, sign up for your stuff, get notified when you've got the cover album and then the original album out.
Yeah, so KeishaJanan.com/song. You'll get actually the single that I released in March. You'll get that for free and also all my updates. And then my website is just KeishaJanan.com.
KeishaJanan.com/song.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and Janan is Janaan, right?
Yes.
Okay, Keisha is at. So I'm putting that in the chat box for YouTube and anyone watching. Yes, thank you so much for chatting a little bit, giving some insights into the path of getting to be empowered around releasing your first record. So psyched. I think you deserve a glass of wine. I'm just saying, I know there's one sitting around there somewhere. So
yeah.
Happy whining. I'm going to bring on Gail. So stick around. Everyone take a sip of something. Thank you again, Keisha. And I'll see you soon.
Yes.
Okay, bye.
Thank you. Bye.
And we'll take a quick break here. We're going to bring on Gail. If anyone's watching and you're like, what are they talking about? Amplify. It's a monthly membership. You can go to indiekey.co/amplify. It is awesome. The landing page is awesome and so fun. And you can sign up. Enrollment is open until Thursday night. And the sooner you get in, the more fun stuff for new members we've got for you. So just go sign up if you're watching. And we're going to bring in Gail Gallagher. Gail's a delight. So just be prepared to have your pants delighted because Gail delights the pants. I don't even know what I'm saying. I have had one sip of this drink. So here we go. We're bringing Gail in.
I delight pants. Okay. I'll go with it.
I don't even know.
I'll take it. You should know that this necklace that I'm wearing has a Mona Lisa on it. And it says, if I lean away from the mic, you don't hear me, but it says, I must make art or I will throw a hissy fit. And it has little Mona Lisa on it and she's wearing a crown.
Oh my gosh.
It's my favorite.
I love that. I'm wearing a key, a tiny little key for In the Key of Success. But I think that wins the night. Very, very, very awesome. I'm going to stop my camera for a hot second because I'm getting a mad delay on me. So maybe my camera is like, hold on, I need a sip of wine too. So let me just stop my camera. But Gail, tell us where you are and what is going on for you right now.
For sure. So I live in Chicago, and I have been in Chicago for about like 10 years, but I grew up in Iowa and then went to college in Nebraska. So I am several shades of Midwest. And so where I am at, so I have been a music director in the theater and improv and sketch comedy scene for nearly a decade, and that is a fun sentence to say. And for the past few years, I've been playing for other people and writing and collaborating and providing music to other people's lyrics. And then about 3 years ago, I started actually writing some of my own stuff and just like binge songwriting and just like I had a lot of blocks about writing lyrics and whether they would be good enough. And then I sort of punched them in the face and wrote a bunch of awesome lyrics. And now I have I'm working on my first album, and it's all songs that I've been sort of shopping around for the past 3 years, and they're around grief and growth and resilience and sort of a love letter to my 20s because I'm 32 now. Yeah, and it's wild because they're all songs written during a tumultuous time that are pre-COVID, and yet here we are recording and spending time with these songs. And you know, that's how the universe do. I have songs about that sort of thing too. So
oh my gosh, I love that. So I absolutely need to unpack this thing that you said. When you said you had all these blocks around lyrics, also that was literally what Keisha and I were just talking about too. And you said you had all these blocks and then you punched them in the face and then you wrote great lyrics. What was that? Tell me, like, what does that mean? You punch the blocks in the face. That's like so interesting to me as a musician who gets into blocks. What'd you do?
I just need to actually write this. It was in a time where it was like I had a lot of things I need to express, and I'm gonna write these things for me. And then I'm gonna start doing I started doing Facebook Lives, and I started sharing my songs with people and getting a little bit more support. And then I started being like, oh, okay, cool. And there are definitely some songs where like I look back and I'm like, good, you rhymed a thing with a thing. That was very good. But but then there's some that are just remarkable. And it's actually been really awesome to go from like,
yay,
I don't like my lyrics and I suck and to, oh, like my lyrics are kind of like a defining characteristic of who I am as an artist.
Did someone tell you that, or did you just kind of like sit with them long enough that it came to you?
A lot of people have said your lyrics are very witty. Your lyrics are very clever. And I started like noticing like, oh, hey, this is getting pretty great. And I think part of that is too coming from the improv world, because I've for the longest time been in this scene where, okay, so here's the thing with musical improv. We rehearse and we learn how to do different forms. Backing up again, in Chicago, we have this thing called musical improv, where teams of actors make up entire musicals on the spot, and I play the piano underneath that.
Wow.
And that's like the thing that I've been doing for nearly a decade.
That's so crazy and awesome.
Yeah.
Wow.
But we rehearse and we talk about forms. It's like football plays. So we are ingrained to go, okay, it's verse, chorus, bridge, chorus. And here's how you signal that you're going to do a duet. And here's how you signal that this is a tagline song. And
that is so fun and a little scary, but I guess it is just like if you're on a football field or something where you're like, we know the plays, but also anything could happen.
Yeah, exactly. So you rehearse.
Like,
and you learn the different forms, and you learn like all of the different possibilities, and then you just get used to it, and you do like rhyming games, and you do like free association games, and you do all of this stuff, and that sort of helps you get used to how things flow, and then to make stuff up a bunch. So it's been awesome, like taking what I learned from improv and then starting to like do that from a performer aspect and be like, oh, hey, it's just like I can make up a song super fast. My issues are having to like pin everything down and be like, no, this is how it sounds now.
Yeah. So that's so interesting because when you improv, it's kind of like it's out. You have to think of it quickly and you can't be attached to how it looks, but then it's also gone. So you don't get to like deep with it. So if you have that part of you that doesn't get to express itself in the improv theater, maybe it's like, ooh, look at this thing I can obsess over and I get that.
Yeah, exactly.
Interesting.
So yeah, that's sort of been the journey. And also like I majored in acting and in theater management, and I taught myself how to compose just 'cause feelings. Like I had taken piano all the way from like grade school to senior year of high school. And then I was like, I choose theater because I have to make a choice between music and theater. And so I choose theater. And but then I started improvising as a hobby, and that made me so intuitive that yeah, I'm not in my head about theory always all the time, although I definitely have my rabbit holes, but I'm able to like connect the emotional part of my brain with what's happening and the actor part of my brain with what's happening, and then
so amazing.
Lay that out.
Yeah. Susan just typed that her duo partner is a music director for a comedy improv troupe, and they do like songs on the spot. And Susan said she's so amazed at people's brains to be so agile. And I've done a little improv, and I don't feel comfortable. I mean, I've been playing the piano since I was 2. I do not feel comfortable in like jam sessions. Like I am so self-conscious of, but I've done the acting thing too. I would never guess you've been in theater.
What?
Just kidding. It's so very obvious, and I love it. I love that we have like several theater people in our group that are tying in music. I think it gives just a lot of dynamics.
For sure.
Really good. That's the dynamic, the word I'm coming to. So I'm trying to remember, and so you have to tell me, how did we first meet?
I think, well, I was following you like a lot, like I think it was last year. It was during the February of 2019, which was a dang mess. This is, I mean, its own special mess, but yeah. So I know I did Rock Your Email List, and then I was like listening to your podcast, and then I went to the DIY con, and then I got to meet you and Suze, and like it. And honestly, I referred to you both as my podcast. I was not kidding. I was like,
wait, what did you refer? Like the internet gremlins were like, we're not going to let her say. You referred to both of us as what?
My podcast moms.
Oh my god! I don't know what I think about that.
Okay, I mean,
okay.
It's
okay.
Cool. You can be cool aunt. It can be podcast cool aunt if that's.
I also don't know what I think about that. Okay. I was thinking, I was like, oh, you're 32. I'm not that. But okay.
No. Okay.
In
not,
other world,
not from that. Not
okay,
like
got
that.
it.
But in
it.
the sense of being in a place where I needed like mentorship, and I was like, yay.
Oh, that's sweet. But I'm prepared for comments like this. It's fine. I mean, I'm going to be talking for 2 hours with 8 different people. I have to be prepared. Sarah Jelly says she's another theater person here, and Sarah just joined Amplify, I think, today. So.
Oh, awesome. Okay,
yeah.
Cool. We're going to have our own little.
Yeah. And wait till you meet Fiona Jane, who's like in the UK, and she adds a whole nother bits and bobs of like British accents to the theater. It's kind of remarkable. Love that so much. So Victoria says, it's okay to be a mom, dude. And not when you've chosen to not be a mom, dude. It's definitely okay to be a mom. Personally, choosing to not be a mom. Therefore, when I hear that I'm someone, no, it's funny. I'm in a choir, and there's this, I'm definitely not the oldest person in the choir, but there's this other guy and we have kind of like a Rachel Ross shtick that we do, and like he's the dad of the choir, so then that sort of becomes me being the mom of the choir indirectly, just because and I'm totally fine with that. I get the insinuations of, you know, just kind of the mentorship, and I have people that I think I might call that are also not in that realm. But I love that. Yeah, the DIY conference. I'm of all the like COVID-y things besides like the people that have died, I think I'm most sad about the conferences, and those they give they give me a shot of just inspiration and touching base with people, and like, you know, hugging the people that you are on Zoom calls with. Cause this Amplify has always been a Zoom call. Like this format is like not new to how we've been running this community. But it's always so nice to put faces to names and stuff. And that's why it's sometimes like this, we get closer when we're here and drinking ish together and that sort of stuff. So what's the like one thing that you are looking for your audience or anyone watching here to do for your music?
Oh, well, so I am working on growing my Gale Mail list. And yes, I call it Gale Mail because...
Oh my God, because it's so good.
Because it's there.
I got to take this banner off so people can see your name.
Oh,
I didn't realize that the names were not there with the banner. So Gale Mail makes a lot of sense when your name is Gale.
Gale, yes. So it's, the is bit.ly Gale Mail list.
You're cutting out a little, so I'm going to say bit.ly/Gale Mail list.
Yes.
There's 2 L's in there.
Yes.
Great. And that's what you want. And I love that people are really clear with like, and Keisha's too was a mailing list. And it's like, hey, you get this thing and I'm going to send it to you. But it's such a good way to connect with people long term. So I think if you don't have like an immediate goal to like sell music before, you know, to get on a Billboard chart, which was like my whole shtick the first quarter of this year, I think the next, like the thing to do is to grow an email list. And I think it's so important. So I'm a little jealous that you can actually call your mail list Gale Mail. Like that's kind of awesome.
Thank you. And the thing that you get when you sign up is some demos from February album writing month, which is a challenge I do every February. You write 14 songs in 28 days.
Wow.
And there's 4 demos from that the 2020 binge in February, including a dance mix I wrote with my cat keyboard.
We have like 3 minutes until we're pulling Wanda on, so I'm going to go out on a limb here and say, what's a cat keyboard?
This is a cat keyboard.
Oh my God.
It might be haunted. My husband thinks it's haunted.
Okay.
But
turn it up.
Okay. Here.
I don't have words.
Yep. It's
meow. Meow is the only word. Wow.
It's the goofiest thing.
But it's not.
But it's wonderful. It's meant for children and comedians and me. Also one of the perks of being on my email list is you get a special birthday message with me in the cat keyboard.
I'm writing this down, cat keyboard, because I just feel like I need to make sure I mention that that's a thing later on. Gale, it's always a pleasure and delight to be in your presence. So thank you so much for sharing your story and what you're up to. And I hope that everyone goes and takes a look at your music. Sarah Jelly, the other theater person, says, "Oh my God, I love you already, Gale." So there's love coming your way through the internet. So thank you so much. I'm going to bring you off and then bring Wanda on. So thank you, Gale.
Thank you for having me. This is great.
Of course. All right. So if you need a quick break, you should definitely take that. If you're wondering where are all these people coming from, they're in my musician community, Amplify. There are some remarkable people here if you haven't figured out. So enrollment is open until Thursday night. Go enroll in thekey.co/amplify. You will not regret it. You'll be surrounded by lots of love and talent and apparently cat keyboards. So I'm going to take a sip of something here. I'm going to take a sip of water. Mm-hmm. That's water. And we're going to invite Wanda Gronhovd. Am I saying that right? We're going to invite her on, and she's going to tell me how to say it. Do I have that?
Yeah. It's very impressive. It's very impressive.
So in the waiting room for StreamYard, I can see everyone's, but they're really small. And I thought you were sitting in like a diner booth.
Oh, yes, no. I am in where I do my music, a diner booth.
Just because I just saw a little red behind you, and I was like, that's so cool. Did she like rent out a diner for this event?
Oh, this is my keyboard cover. You can't really see it. It's got my logo on it, but I have it for my background for my live streams and such.
I love it. I mean, I love it. I mean, one of the first songs I wrote with lyrics, and this is when I was still figuring out lyrics, is called American Diner. And I basically like describe a diner in the song. So I have it was for some reason, it was one of my dad's favorite songs. So like it has a soft spot in my heart because like he always asked me to play it at shows. And I was like, Dad, that was 5 records ago. I don't like, no one likes that song. Like my band is always like, we cannot play that song. It's terrible. So anyways, tell us where you are. Give us the snapshot of what your music is doing, because you're up to some fun stuff.
Yeah, thank you. I was kind of, trepidatious of how I would follow up with Gail and the cat keyboard. I'm like, oh boy. Okay. Yeah.
Well, you've got the
the diner. Well, I'm trying to already think about how I can do with Wednesdays with Wanda tomorrow at 3 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Yeah, it might become a diner. Just thinking.
Oh, fun.
I mean, right? It's like coffee time here, but it's actually almost dinner time out there in Eastern Time Zone land.
Get a couple plastic menus and some
I couldn't I? Yeah. Pie. Okay. So I am in Western Canada, in Regina, Saskatchewan, Canada, right in the middle of the province, more or less. And I am just releasing a single in a couple weeks. It's actually the 3rd single from this new EP that's coming out. The first one was out in October, so it doesn't feel like it's in the same build-up, but I put out a single because I wanted to put out some music was the basic reason. And I knew it would be a part of this 5-song EP that I'm putting out. Called Pieces of Her Heart. And it is all about, some of the pieces of my own heart, for sure.
I love that. You have a very big heart. When I'm in your presence, there's like a calming, it's so wonderful. I'm excited to hear the music because I know it reflects you and your stories and the work that you do, which is remarkable. And that's what was one of the things I wanted to ask you in particular, is how you found sort of the bridge to what you do for work and your music. And I think it's actually, Charmin talked about this too, finding that bridge between her Bloom project and the music too. And I feel like you have a sort of version of that. And I love hearing about that when people are able to bring multiple passions into one sort of focus.
Yeah. Oh boy. See, I never know exactly where we're going to go. I've just been really passionate about music forever. And it feels like the work that I've done as a nurse, where it comes from, especially when I've worked with palliative care, with people that were dying, but also, in all the other areas where I've worked, there's this vulnerability, there's this intimate kind of connection with people, and that is what I want to bring forward in my music for sure. And I think that it's probably was the gift that I gave to my clients, patients, was that I could be present with them in a way that is not always, not everyone has that gift. And so, I'm really grateful that I was able to do that, and I'm proud of my 40-year nursing career for sure. And learned a lot from other people. There are always mentors. You make me think, because you are a music mentor of a young, I remember when my assistant head nurse said to me when I was like, how do I talk to people? Like, how do I talk to people that are dying? She's like, well, you just go follow Debbie. And she's been here for a long time and knows what she's doing. And so, of course, with all work, with all things, there are mentors. There are people. I see Cheryl as a role model. You are a role model. Every time I see you do something, I'm like, okay, I'm following. I'm watching.
Wow.
I am watching her.
Good to know. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Well, I think that, I picked 3 words because I am very closely connected with Kathryn Mahler. We have been accountability partners for a year. And she said, she picked 3 words with Cheryl, and mine are creativity, passion, and leadership. So I am really curious about how that will come into my work as a musician, because I do see that I do have the gift of leadership, and it changes, when I was a nurse, as I became an expert, I guess, in what I was doing, because it takes time, which is like another message, right, in the music world. Yeah, nobody becomes a musician overnight. I didn't become a great nurse overnight. I did it for 40 years, right? I didn't know what I was doing for the first 20, I would say. So maybe that's a little message for
I love that message, because I think right now, especially in the digital age, when like instant gratification is a thing, and can I pour some money into Facebook ads and just see, more Spotify followers? Like I think there are a lot of resources out there that can say, hey, if this is what you want, here's how to do this one thing. But it doesn't look at the whole picture for someone that is, like you said, in it for the long haul, because it's not just, I want to achieve this one goal and then I'm done. It's like, no, this is the lifestyle. This is the passion. This is the creativity. And I want it for the long haul. And that, that's what Amplify is all about. That's why I offer a year. It's like, why would you not be in this for years, which a lot of people have been, because it's like, this is just becomes your family of support for the long haul, if you're committed to your own career for a long time. And I think that's a really good point. It's like, you don't become a nurse or a bank teller or the best of anything overnight. And you have to master, that's what we talk about, the musician's success cycle. You go around this cycle and all the different phases and creating and promoting, but then you come back around and then you create and promote better. And then you just keep, you keep doing it. You never have to be stagnant. And for someone who gets bored very easily like me, it's kind of the perfect career, right? It's always changing.
Well, that's why you're my person, right? Because, right, you got the type A thing going on. I was an ICU nurse. Like, my challenge as a nurse, and maybe it also comes over to this world, is I get bored really easily, but then I'd put myself in these pressure cookers where I would get burnt out. So, really trying, and in the music world like that, now that I'm retired, I've spent the last year really trying to figure some of that out, and knowing, my propensity to go from nothing to everything, right? To just say, I'm not going to do anything. So trying to pull that back in to really work steadily, to focus on certain projects, to not be overwhelmed by all the different things there could be to do, because there always are. And I also think the business piece, at least, for people that I perhaps have some mentorship role with in my community here, is that it's a business. People don't build businesses in 2 months, even in 5-10 years. I mean, it is a long-term commitment.
Yep, absolutely. It's so inspiring. And I think that just thinking long-term, but knowing that you can look at what's right in front of you, and you're like, oh, I'm in this for the long haul. I don't need to do all the things right now. And I love that, that expression, you can have it all. Women can have it all. I don't want it all. I said this on the webinar I did the other day. Like, I don't want to win the Grammy and the Emmy in the same night. I want them in separate nights so I can change dresses. But like, the idea that like we want it all right now, like, how would you handle that if you got it all? So it's yes, you can have it all in like over time. So and I love the idea of like burnout too, that you're saying, like to knowing that you get bored easily, but how do you prevent burnout when you're someone who gets bored? I mean, I got bored scuba diving for the government. That's why I went into music. I got a random opportunity. Like, I get bored. I had 2 majors in college. I was on the crew team and in an a cappella group. I had 2 extracurriculars. I was often dating 2 guys at once. You want to talk about getting bored easily? I married a mountain guide, you guys. Like, that is not a 9 to 5. Anyway, I hear the bored, but then you can also go down that rabbit hole. And I think finding that balance and finding ways to rest and do self-care that are interesting to you. Like for me, walking through the woods, or, you see different things, but it's also able to find that. I think that's really a really self-aware thing to say. I love that. I also love that you totally see me as a type A personality. I literally just got off a phone with a client who was planning his record release. And I was like, what's the system that you have in place? Like, are you using the document, the Airtable, like spreadsheet I sent you? I was like, please don't tell me it's in your head. Please don't tell me it's in your head. Please don't tell me it's in your head. And he was like, it's not in my head. It's on a sticky pad. And I was thinking like one of these.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
And I was like, please tell me it doesn't fit in your pocket. Please tell me it doesn't fit in your pocket. He finally said it was like a normal size. And I was like, okay, I'm okay. Breathe. The type A personality, breathe through the type A. So I see you. I love this. So tell us, so as you're building this record release and the 5-song process, what are you bringing? I know you're not in like, I'm not promoting music right now, but when someone says, oh, I want to follow you, I want to know more about you, or where do you send people? What's most important to you right now?
Oh, it is my email, I would say. As the last, you were saying Keisha and yeah, Gail, I still am trying to build up my email list for sure.
All right, we're going to get on your email list. Where do we go? I'm going to type it in the chat box.
So found.ee, found.e. Yep. And then /WGG13-4.
Got it.
Thank you.
We're going there. That's
okay. Yes. So okay, I just want to say one last thing. I realized this.
You've got plenty of time. Tell us.
Just that I've realized my albums it's a trilogy. So I have 3. The first was Awakening, and it is like my coming out story, and it's kind of the base. And I knew, well, the first album, right? Knew nothing, da-da-da. And the second one is Shifting Sands, which talks about things being more kind of uncertain and all of that. And now Pieces of My Heart. I've realized there's 1, 2, 3. Yeah. And so I'm excited to put that all together, right? As part of what this album is all about, and that this last 5 songs really feel like a completion of something for me. So I'm really excited for it. And then I'm a bit excited for what might be next.
And I think that lets other people connect to that own journey and sort of see, oh, I'm feeling like I'm in the end of this first album, but look what's coming up. I can listen to this music and know that that's ahead for me. Like, what a neat way to connect with your fans and give a lot of hope through your own journey. Yeah, I really love that.
Yes. And I guess that is totally the message that I have, is that transformation is possible. The last song on my album is all about, the word is gone, but it's all about forgiveness with my ex-husband. And it is, there's songs about difficult things too that I went through, but just that you can go through really difficult times and then you can really still have great things in your life. That is the message. I am the example of that. If you had known me 30 years ago, this is not who you would see. And so I am grateful that I've been able to live that life, and also that I can be here for sure doing music. But yeah, I do want to let people know it's possible for life to change in big, big ways.
Yeah, I love that. I think we're going to have to do this again, because I want to hear about that 30 year ago you, as much as I love this one. I think that would be fun, or maybe not fun for you, but
oh yes, it's all, yes. Yep. I will tell you what I wasn't going to tell anyone, but I'll tell you, because I messaged Gail, and because I started working on a musical this week, because I thought of you right away, and I'm like, oh, I know I can learn. I'm going to have to go take classes, but I've had this in the back of my mind for about 12 years. I'd written a memoir, and it looks like it's not going to be a memoir, but I think it's going to be in musical form. So that's probably 5 years down the road, but I did let myself have a couple creative days at the lake. So it kind of has an outline.
That's amazing. That 5 years was as long as it took me and my writing partner to do our musical, from like him inviting me to write the music for this idea, and then it getting onto a stage in a very, very rough format. So that is really exciting. Yes, you have
in between to release, but
yeah, you have a lot of people in this group that are going to be able to help you through that process for sure. That's exciting, really exciting.
Yeah. See, and you made me say it out loud, because I wasn't going to say it out loud to anyone. I didn't want to tell anyone.
I think I have brainwashed you. I think I have brainwashed everyone in the group that when you say something out loud, it becomes the thing that happens, right? We declare what we want to have happen in July, and more and more people, that's the hesitation to actually sharing it with people. To me, when someone's like, I don't want to jinx it, it's not a thing. You don't jinx things, you create it when you say it.
Right. Okay.
So the fear is not that there's some like juju that's going to have it not happen. The fear is that's going to happen. That's why people are like, I don't jinx it. I'm like, what? I say things all the time. I want to get to the point where I can say share and a chair is going to appear in front of me. I'm
Ooh,
working
oh.
on that. I got it to parking spaces in Harlem. For years, I worked on like, come around the corner, it's 11 o'clock at night when everyone's already parked and there should not be spaces. And I'm like, top right, top right, top right. I turn the corner, top freaking right, baby. Start manifesting little. And then when you come to like, you know, Grammys, gets a little closer. That's the game I'm playing. So I love that you just said that. Really exciting. We're going to talk about it all the time. And she's like, I'm quitting the group. Cancel. Cancel my membership. Cancel. Amplify. Cancel. Love it. Thank you for being here. We're going to bring on, I think Josh is next.
Excellent.
And then Victoria is on deck. And Kathryn, Rob, Rob and then Kathryn. Great night tonight. This is so fun. I love this. So thank you for being here.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate it so much.
You're welcome. Have a good show tomorrow, 3 o'clock. What time?
5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time.
5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And we go to your Facebook page?
Yes. WGG13. That's me.
WGG13. That is Wanda.
Yeah. Okay.
Amazing.
Bye.
Thanks so much, Wanda. Bye. All right. We are so on schedule here and everyone's like in the waiting room ready to go because this is how we operate in Amplify. We're not like stressing out about our like type A thing, but like there's some integrity in this group. And I'm just so glad to bring on Josh. What's up, Josh?
Hi.
Hello. I love that you always sit on the floor
Yeah.
in front of your piano.
I love to show off this wonderful,
It's beautiful.
beautiful piano. Yes.
I love it.
I turned 40 and this was what I decided I was going to get myself. It was like, I had lived without a piano, like a real piano in my home. And so when I got to the 4th decade, I'm like, no more, I need a studio grand in my home. And so, and it's been wonderful. It's been a wonderful addition in my life. So
I love that. I thought you meant you just turned 40 and I was like, we didn't have a party for you because
no. Actually, I actually turned 42 tomorrow. So
wait,
yeah.
You turned 42 tomorrow? We haven't had a party for you?
Yep.
I'm ready. Josh birthday.
Well, I actually will bring up something that's going on with my birthday, you know, so, but I'll let you ask your questions and we'll go.
Well, here's my first question. What's going on with your birthday?
Okay. So, Cheryl, likes us to go ahead and step outside of our comfort zones. And I became, I didn't know I was going to become a filmmaker last month, but, the COVID-19 is actually the reason why I got with an editor, and I am actually at 7:30 Central Time tonight. I mean, literally after I get off this call with you, I have the world premiere of the screening of a program. It's like an art installation program that I did in a very small church turned gallery turned concert space.
Huh.
So it's what the issue that we ran into is I wanted to go ahead and capture this, and I thought that it'd be something that I'd be capturing live. And what ended up happening is I just kept thinking last month when I was having a lot of waves of depression. It was actually after a very, very awkward and very tense conversation that I had with my dad that I decided it's time to figure out how to bring this program back and tie it into the Black Lives Matter and the social justice issue, you know, just bring it in home, like bring all this together. And so, so what ended up happening is I now have a 90-minute film that is all these short vignettes that I've been gathering footage for. And then this editor went ahead and added a whole other layer. So it's supposed to feel as if you're sitting in a space, but you've got a painter, you've got screens around you, but we're going to try to recreate that as a film that you just watch. So it's going to be interesting to see like what is going to happen with this. So
wow, sounds so creative and collaborative. And
it was, yeah. And you're actually one of the reasons, because one of the things that you, when I came to you, I had a really big project that was, I'm a huge Philip Glass fan. And one of the first things that Cheryl found out about me in our first coaching session that I had at the beginning of 2019 is I've got this big project. And she's like, that actually sounds like something that's a long-term. I want to see what we can do next month. I want to see what you can do in 3 months. She made me think about do this, get this done, then go to this step, then get this done, then go to this step, then get this done. And so the reason why this program could be put together so quickly is because this is music that I already know. I've lived with this music for like 20 years. And I could play this program for the rest of my life. But I just never thought that I would actually make an art installation film out of it. And so, yeah.
So cool. I love that. I like that we're going backwards, and not that I have like an agenda or anything, but we got to like see the picture of like what's going on. You have your birthday tomorrow. You've got this huge milestone. I'm drinking to champagne wins for you.
Yay!
I've got my champagne win. We were talking about champagne wins earlier and like what that means to us as a community versus like someone. And I was saying how I talk about it a lot, but I don't actually drink that much. But when I do, it's always when it's still light out. I never like to drink at night. I just always am. So I'm drinking a champagne win to that because happy birthday, Josh.
Yeah, thank you.
From me and all of Amplify who love you so much. And also congratulations on what's about to happen after this. And I will definitely put in the link so people can go catch it. And just so exciting that you were able to kind of get out of your comfort zone. And
I was in a horrible funk. Like the only thing that kept me going, I mean, it was mentioned when you had your session with Rick Barker, and I was like, whoa, is that me popping up on the screen? And it was like, I need this community. It's like, no, there were some days it was like, that's all I've got. I have to, because that literally was what was getting me to go.
Yeah.
And we're in those places sometimes. And
totally. And we get through them. And that's kind of the lesson. It's not like, it's okay to sit with it because we know we're going to get through it if we're open to getting through it. Sometimes people like to stay there, they get something out of it. And if we know what that is, and a lot of what the work we do in Amplify is just distinguishing and pointing out, oh, that's a thing. And then the next time we see it, we're like, oh, wait, that's my thing. And then you get to choose. Every distinction that we see about ourselves is just a choice. We can either do it again, or if it's not serving us, like, oh, we have a choice here. And that's sort of the work we do. We kind of like kick up the dust a little bit. And and you're like one of the best dust kickers out there.
Well, that's what you've been telling me. So I have to believe it. So
you do. Guys, I've said it before. I'm basically just a master brainwasher.
Yeah, you did.
You are wonderful.
Yes, I am.
Wonderful. So tell us where you are. Let's get back to the basics. I want people to be able to connect with you.
I live in Arlington, Texas, which I tend to say Fort Worth, Texas, because that's where I work. But Dallas is also on the other side. So Arlington is like sits right in between. That's where the Dallas Cowboy Stadium. That's where the Six Flags. That's where the Texas Ranger Stadium. That's now going to become something else. And now we've got a different stadium. They're building all this sports stuff. But I live far enough away from that I don't have to deal with that traffic. And I live equidistant from downtown Dallas and downtown Fort Worth. And so I have plenty of culture within a 20-mile radius. Like really, yeah. So I'm fine with it. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. And I don't know why I want to ask you if you have a cat. I feel like you don't.
No, I did. You
did.
No, actually the first coaching session, or the first time you met me, we were talking about my cat. And then he actually passed away like that November. And so when we had our first call, you had asked me about the cat. And I was like, oh, well, he passed away right before Thanksgiving. And so I do love cats.
I know. Well, did you see Gail's cat keyboard?
No, because I wasn't on earlier because I was having to do.
No, you're prepping for things. So the half an hour in, probably 35 minutes into this video, go tomorrow. Happy birthday to you. Go watch for the cat keyboard.
Sounds great. No,
yes. Yeah. Happy birthday from Gail. She doesn't even know it.
That's great. Awesome.
Yeah. just that's just for you. So I love that. I love that you're working on this film, and you've been doing really great work. I know that in the beginning of COVID, a lot of live performance musicians in the group were like, how do we pivot? And like right off the bat, we're like, let's do this right now. And we were laughing the other day because we were like pivoting in March. I think one of our members was on a webinar and was like, someone was like, hey, it's time to pivot. And we were laughing because it's July and we were pivoting in March, but you pivoted really well. You're like, all right, I gotta figure this out. And you started doing Facebook Lives and Instagram Lives, and you've got a great setup with your piano, and people are able to sort of experience the emotion of how you perform. And so tell us about that, how that pivot was for you.
Well, the pivot actually became, so I was, well, I am. I'm a full-time teacher as well. I teach music. And luckily, I don't have to do middle school choir. I'm not going to have to deal with that mess. I'm going to go back into elementary. And even though we may be online, I still feel like I'm much more equipped to know what to do with the younger ones than to deal with like a choir on set. You know, with kids, you can do different activities. But anyway, I was in the middle of not having kids responding to me. Thank goodness I had this community, because I certainly wasn't getting it from my school. And so, but actually the thing that got me to do a Facebook Live was all of these plans that our high school and our middle school work together on fundraisers. And so I thought, I've been talking about doing a live concert as a fundraiser. And the other choir director was always like, oh no, we need to get the kids involved. I'm like, there are no kids now. Do you want me to raise money or not? And so that became like how we were able to raise some funds. So that's what started it. And then every single Facebook Live I've done has been either for, it's either been for, like recently in June, I've started really being very focused on the Black trans community.
Yeah. And
when I found out that the Black trans community has their conference in Dallas, Texas, and that their headquarters, like the Black Trans Advocacy Coalition, is literally like 40 minutes. Just it's like half an hour up north of me, and I had no idea about that. I just learned about that, and so there's always been that aspect since I've been doing the Facebook Live. Since I have income, I can now share right now. So
yeah, that's a huge thing. And we talk a lot about money blocks in Amplify, because I think it's a common thing for musicians, especially when you're taught to work hard to be successful. And sometimes when we are working on music and it's our passion, it doesn't feel like work. Therefore, the connection between working hard, like we're like, wait, we don't deserve this money because we didn't work hard, but we did. So there's a lot of stuff. We have so much stuff around
hard
money.
as a musician. I don't know about anybody. I'm like, no, I mean, when the performance happens, that's where the work kind of is different, but it's everything leading up to that performance or everything leading up to that release is like, good God. Like
it's a different context of like working hard, or everyone's got money stuff, right? We've been culturally trained to be wonky with money, to not talk about all the things, right? So we talk about money a lot and Amplify, especially because, you know, it's $37 a month. If someone's like, I'm having a hard time with the $37 a month, I'm like, cool, come on in this group and let's handle that. Right. That shouldn't be a thing. That shouldn't be a thing. And if you're saying, oh, my goal is to get 2,000 Spotify followers, but I can't afford $37 a month. I'm like, no, your goal is not 2,000 Spotify followers right now. Your goal is to get your shit together so that you can actually what you really want is to be stable. And then if not, let's talk about that. So we do a lot of work around money. And I think you just said something that's so golden, is we shift the context around money so that it's like the more wealth, and wealth is not a 4-letter word, the more wealth you have, the more ability you have to do things like you're saying, and to donate to places that make a difference for people in the world, to give it away. And it's kind of like, I always say, it's like air, it comes in and out, and there's enough for everyone. There's enough for everyone. Same thing with fans. There are enough ears for everyone. People can like multiple different pieces of music. And so I love that context and that shift and that generosity that you have. It's and that how you're connecting it all in the center of everything.
I'm literally being coached by somebody that writes social justice music for choirs. I mean, it's kind of like, I was kind of coming to this about the same time I met you. So it's kind of, it's all working out. Yeah.
Keisha pointed out that her mom, she was listening to one of my lessons in Rock Your Email List, and her mom thought she was listening to a video back of her. So Keisha's like, you're onto something with this, like, attract your avatar. She's like, I think I'm literally your avatar. And I think I do a good job, like, putting out there who I am and like attracting people that can like handle how fast I talk and also what I'm up to. And I like, I think I create a space for people that are awesome. And I like that about myself, because if I didn't, then I wouldn't have met you and all the other people on this call who are awesome. So I'm excited about your birthday tomorrow. Big happy birthday from me and everyone. Definitely go back and look for Gail's cat keyboard, and just it's a present for you. And good luck with this film tonight. Tell us where we can watch it later, now, live. So I'm going to.
What I was going to do is if you want to follow me, what I'm doing with all of the people in my music life is just find Josh Bradford Music on Instagram, because I've decided that because the music, because I'm just posting everything about music that's happening. But if you want to find out about the event, it's going to be there. But it's actually called Meditations, Yield to the Fire, Say Their Names, and all the the Eventbrite link is there and all that stuff. I want to say one more thing, because we were talking about our avatar, and I think I actually figured out who my avatar is. And he's got a name because he actually exists in the world, and he was actually the first filmmaker I met at a film festival. He's going to be actually at my film online tonight.
Ooh, look at that.
I was thinking, it's like, wait a second, that is my avatar. Somebody that does several things, but like just loves to support whatever you're doing. And I was just like, oh my God, that's this guy.
I love it when all the things come together. Josh, thank you so much. Good luck tonight. Happy birthday. We're going to bring on Victoria in a second, but you have a wonderful rest of your night, and thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
All right. Oh, you guys, this has been so much fun. I can't even get over it. So if you're wondering who are all these people, where do they come from? They are all amazing musicians leveling up in my membership at Amplify. It's open for enrollment until Thursday night. Get in and get all the good stuff and join our meetings. You get to meet all these people and they will become your new BFFs. So we're going to bring in Victoria, although it says that Victoria is not connected. So Victoria, you need to connect your mic and cam before I can add you to the stream. But Rob still is on deck driving, making this happen from the road, which is so exciting. He'll be on at 8:30 unless I can't get Victoria to get her stuff on, in which case Rob still will be on now. So Victoria was hanging out here for a while, and I don't know where she went. I'm just going to text real fast in our little chat. Where are you, Victoria? We love it when the internet gremlins come and take over. So just everyone say, hi, internet gremlins. And then when you acknowledge the thing you don't want, they go away. And then we can add Victoria to the stream, because here she is.
Am I
Yay!
back? That was
You're
bizarre.
back.
And you can hear me and everything?
Yep, you're great. So perfect.
So I've been hanging out, enjoying the show, shall we say, for, like what, an hour?
Yeah.
And then 30 seconds before I'm supposed to. Yeah.
The irony is not lost on me. I saw you in there, and like she's leaving comments and telling me that the mic level, you've been like the behind the scenes angel for an hour, and then like literally like 2 minutes on, it says like Victoria not available, and I'm like, that's ironic. It's not like she hasn't been waiting here for an hour.
See, the universe just wanted me to work a little harder.
That's so funny. Well, I also love the teaching moment when you acknowledge the gremlins and they go away, because the second I said hello, gremlins, you popped right up. So it was perfect.
Noticing that you can't see me through these reflective glasses too, so I'll take.
Oh, I love those. So Victoria, tell us where you are in the world and what's going on for you these days.
Well, I can't see you, so I'm gonna put them back on. And
that's okay. I love the glasses.
We'll have to do one of these and stand this way so I'm not reflecting my screen at you.
I think it's okay. I think it's okay.
Go. So
it's a little Inception, like meta.
I put on my broadcast voice and look at you like this. Anyway, there we go.
There we go.
So I'm in Chicago. Also,
like Gail.
Yes, and I have to tell you, I have experienced the Chicago improv music scene, and if Gail is in that, she is a monster, because that is not easy.
Yeah,
it is not easy. That is so cool that she's doing that. I didn't know.
Yeah. Oh, that's a small world. I love that.
Yeah. Right?
Very cool.
Right. So, so I've been here since I got out of school a long time ago.
A couple years ago. Got it. Okay.
A couple years ago. Mm-hmm. And I have to tell you, I pulled a card out of my ask, and it is given. Esther and Jerry Hicks, if anybody's familiar with those guys.
No.
It's like, it's not tarot, because that's like too spooky for me. I can't handle that stuff. But it's like motivation cards. Like, what do you need today? Right?
I love that. Yeah.
So what I pulled out, just because I love this kind of stuff, was a card that said, when I reverse the thought, I reverse the condition. Okay.
Ooh.
So I feel like these things are always appropriate. And that's totally appropriate to my joining your group, because I'm doing a lot of thought reversing and realigning to what I know is my truth on the inside, and I have not yet manifest on the outside. So there we go. That's my manifestation card.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, and it starts there. So you're
Right?
just you're doing the work, and you know that what's next is manifesting it out there, because you
Right.
can't do it the other way around.
Right.
It's that the be, do, have,
Right.
versus have, and then once I get this, then I'll be happy.
Exactly.
Versus when I'm happy, that will show up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I love that. So you said it's okay to be a mom dude, and I know that there was a comma missing, but I really like just saying mom dude.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing that you're a mom.
I am.
And how old? How many?
Well, I have a 16-year-old girl and a 12-year-old girl. The 12-year-old is kind of going on 25.
Got it.
And the 16-year-old's already an old soul. So I don't know. She's beyond me already. So yeah.
Wow. That's amazing.
And I have to say that obviously for the health reasons and the chaos that our country is thrown into because of this nasty, nasty virus, it has really rocked my family world too, in that my kids aren't going to school every day anymore. And that's a whole new world, you know, like my beautiful daughters, when I love being a mom, I love being a parent, I love having them in my world and sharing with them, you know, any wisdom of the moment I might be able to scrape up. But I was also ready to go back to work after I had those babies at 7-8 weeks. You know, I was like, okay, ready. Okay, these babies are out. Let's, you know, they're healthy. They're going to be fine. Let's go to work. So I was not one of those moms that was like a stay at home. Oh my God, I'm going to nest for my whole life. I was like, I may be a little bit like you in that I get bored easy. And I don't know if it's so much boredom as it is. I have a multiple focus. Yeah. So I like to be doing a lot all the time.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah,
very much.
So I've always got, you know, I'm juggling projects constantly. Yeah. And it's an interesting time right now that the four of us are in this house constantly together.
Yeah.
You know?
What was the job that you went back to when you were chop?
Oh, when I was chop. Well, I was working at a children's hospital at the time. And I'm my training and my my day job is in music therapy.
Oh, wow.
So I am a musician full time with a different kind of spin. And and right now I'm working in hospice music therapy. And if you know anything about hospice, a lot of people who are on hospice are living in nursing homes, and nursing homes are in a state of trauma. Yeah. It's major trauma. I can't see a lot of my patients. They can't see their families. It's like, you know, they're going to write about this in the history books. Yeah. About how we've ended up treating our elders. We're doing the best we can, but it's not good enough. Yeah. So it's a really hard time. It's a really hard time. And I think I live it every day. Maybe more than a lot of people do because of the work I do. Yeah. You know, I'm always talking in the healthcare world, and, you know, maybe Wanda gets it. I'm sure Wanda does.
She's a nurse for 40 years. I bet. And it's got to look really differently right now. Yeah. So what has been able to pivot in the positive sense for your music since all the staying at home with the family that was supposed to be at school?
Right. And I don't mean to make that sound negative, by the way.
No. I think it's a very common thing that we hear. It's like, I love my kids also. Yeah. It's like I mean, for most people, it's a very large but. I love my kids, but you can phrase it. I love my kids. And when they were at school all day, that wasn't the worst.
Right. Right.
Like, how can you spin that? And you get it.
Mine, you know, they're older. And so it's not like I can do chemistry and pre-calc at home. I mean, it's just not my skill set. I mean, she's gone beyond that. So
Yeah.
anyway, so what I've done, the other sadness that the COVID did to me is it took away my band life. And I had a very active band life. We had a residency in one of our local pubs. We were playing every third Thursday and rehearsing and writing and inviting guests, artists, and all of that. So that's kaput. Blessing is that we just started getting back to rehearsing in person again in the backyard. And now our keyboard player set up our rehearsal space, and I use my hospital knowledge and how to sing in places safely for others. And we've built me basically a sound booth made out of shower curtains in the corner.
Okay.
With the window.
I love it.
And we blow the air out, and I'm singing over there in the corner, and I can see them, and we can rehearse. They're wearing masks, and I'm not going to infect them if I have it. And that's always my fear, is I don't want to infect anybody.
Yeah.
Including my bandmates. So we're getting back to that, which is good. So if anybody needs rehearsal, that may be a possibility. Singing in the shower.
Okay.
The other thing is that I've been able to dedicate the time to hanging out with you a bit more.
Yay.
Yep. And your wonderful community that you're building. And the third thing that's been really good is that I reached out to an old friend who is at this point a Grammy nominated producer. And I said, hey, it's been 30 years. I see you've done wonderful things. You want to hear some of my stuff? And maybe I can pay you to make it sound better than I can make it. And he said, for you, sure. So I'm really excited. And I think it's because he's also not as busy right now.
Yeah.
And so I'm excited about the possibility of getting some of these songs out into the world. My work is obviously intense. My home life tends to be kind of intense. And my music needs to be the place where I can express that and also have some fun with it. So it's really important to me to be able to have that voice, especially when I sing for other people all day long. I need to sing for me.
Yeah. What is what do you call your genre of your music that is just yours?
Definitely singer-songwriter.
Amazing.
I'm a soprano with a guitar.
Got it. Okay.
So yeah. So one of the things that I was attracted to spending more time with you, Cheryl, is because of your musical background as a singer-songwriter, your touring history, and now your meditation CD. It freaking rocks. It's so good. It's so beautiful, and I use it quite a lot in my sessions. So congrats on that. Yeah,
thank you so
I share
much.
it
Wow,
with people all the time.
Thank you. That means a lot to me. Oh,
yeah.
I'm just very touched right now.
Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah, I love me someone that wears multiple hats, connects them, but also juggles a lot of balls within each of those hats. Because I'm sure as a music therapist, you're not just singing all day long. You've got to do the admin and you've got to do the other stuff. And within each project, there are all the micro projects. And I think that's kind of this community. There are a lot of multiple hat wearers and multi-passionate people, and just finding out which is the thing to do actually next, and how can we do it the best way that we can do it and give it the best chance to sort of breathe. So I think I always get that when we're talking to you, that you've got a lot going on and you have a lot of people that you're positively impacting in the world. So for you to be able to work on your music, I think is really important. So I'm glad to be a little part of that, because I think that in order for, it's like to put your mask, your oxygen mask first before you can help someone else. So if you're giving, we want to make sure that you're getting to do your singer-songwriter projects for sure. So,
well, my dream, my ultimate dream.
Yeah.
I'll share don't anybody tell.
Okay.
But so my dream is to be able to climb in, and this is so cheesy, I know, climb into my RV that has all my gear in it, go and drive and do the festival tour in the summers, and then come back to my studio and do music therapy, or do it on my laptop through, telehealth, and have like a performing career, once we're back to that,
Yep.
as well as a music therapy career, as well as, you know, I feel a little grounded here, and I need to move.
Yeah.
And I think that,
Well, I love
doing it
that.
way is
RV tour, festival
Right?
tours with the home studio for, you said it, it's happening.
There we go.
There we
There
go.
we go.
We declared it.
There you go.
We didn't jinx it. We declared it. I love that.
That's the
well,
long range.
I already know what I'm going to put in the chat box here, because you were so super wise, and instead of putting your name, you actually put your website as your little banner there. So I'm going to guess that.
Hope that's not cheesy.
No, I go to every webinar that the Grammy Recording Academy hosts, because I'm doing a pretty hard push to try to get Luminary nominated for the New Age category. So I go to all the webinars, and most of the time you can't see the other people. They like have it set up for webinars, but I have my like picture when you mute your video to be my album cover with a Google search icon that says FYC for your consideration, best New Age album. So like I put that.
Oh yeah.
I'm as subtle as a bowl. So I'm just going to say that. So I'm going to say Victoria is at www.victoria, I'm typing it in here, stormmusic.com. So we are putting all these in. I just want to make sure I spelled this right. Victoria, stormmusic.com. And that is now in the chat. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day with your family and from songwriting to be with us. And I hope you have a restful, wonderful evening.
Thank you. And I will see you like tomorrow, the next day
We've
after
got something
that,
planned.
at some point.
It's in the Amplify calendar. Definitely.
Good.
Yes. And Susan says, thank you for sharing. Some things are deep and dark, but that's where people are now. And she appreciates the sharing of that. So
All right,
thanks,
cool.
Susan.
Thanks, guys.
Amazing. Yeah. Have a good night.
Bye.
Awesome. So we are going to talk with Rob, who is driving and making this work. And then last but not least, we're going to close out the night with Kathryn Mahler. So I'm really excited. If you are wondering who are these people, where did they come from? They are all members of the Amplify musician community, all musicians that are leveling up their careers at all times and have a good career behind them. And they're now taking that and amplifying it. So if you're a musician watching and you're like, what? I want in. I mean, you do. It's like $37 a month or $27 if you pay for the year. That's the link. And so while you go do that, I'm going to take a sip of water and bring Rob Still on, who I hope is being very safe while he's driving.
Oh, yeah, cool. I'm not driving. I pulled over.
Oh, you pulled over. Okay, good.
Oh, yeah.
You're so safe.
Don't drive in video.
I mean, I don't know. The roads are less empty. I'm sure that I definitely have seen people do it. So, well, thanks for doing it. Tell us what's your drive? Where are you driving? Why you've been driving for like hours?
Pretty much. So, besides my music and producing my music and stuff, I also produce audiobooks. And so I recorded an author about 200 miles away from Nashville, where I live. And it's really interesting. This would tie into Victoria's interview that she just had. So the book I just recorded was for women who have had a loss of pregnancy. It's called Loved Baby. And very tender, and because Victoria was talking about doing music therapy for hospice, which actually really interests me, because a lot of my music it's all Christian, it's all spiritual, and I have a lot of songs that are like I sung at funerals, many funerals, so spiritual music that's for healing, that's for solace, that kind of a thing.
Yeah. Wow. So you drove 200 miles to read an audiobook on loss of pregnancy.
To record the author.
Record the author. Okay, so you're not the artist, the recording artist. You're the engineer.
I was the engineer and producer, and we actually they're cattle farmers, and I went out to their farm because she had just had a baby and it was not convenient to travel. I'm like, heck, I'll come down there. So.
Wow. Talk about like engineer service. I love that. But you have a very long, very impressive career behind you. I think we had emailed a little bit and I was like, who is this guy? Where'd you come from? So yeah, give me some of the highlights. Cause you're kind of like a sleeper. Like we're like, who's this Rob? He's got good energy, but what's up? And then you're like, and then you
right. Well, let me give you kind of the story, the real quick version of the story. I was listening to your webinar with Rick Barker the other night, and you said something that was really enlightening to me. And you said, I was a 5 at one point in time, but right now I'm a 4, you know, when you're on your
the musician success cycle. Yeah.
Yeah. And for people who don't know, like a 5 is like basically you're full time in this, right?
Yeah, you're monetizing, you're sort of
you're
monetizing. You've done all your pitches, you've created your music, you've done crossed the I's and dotted the T's. Yeah, there's 5 phases, but it's that you keep going through and you keep leveling up every time you go. You're never in one permanently.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I've been a full-time musician, honestly, my whole career. So 35, 40 something years. First, as a performer, my wife and I had a duo out of college, and we were singing like in restaurants and weddings and bar mitzvahs and bars and stuff like that. And we kind of became, this was on the Eastern Shore of Maryland, like on the beaches and on the Chesapeake Bay. And we kind of got to be big fish in a little pond.
Yep.
And then I really decided I wanted to do things that were more behind the scenes. So I had gotten it, man, I had the first like 4-track reel-to-reel on tape.
Love it. And you're cutting it with the tiny little razor blades.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
To edit it.
Yeah. Oh,
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm just old enough to like that. I got like 1 year of training of that before digital stuff came in. I was in an internship. So I did cut tape at one point in my college internship in a recording studio.
Yeah, well, that used to be my life. I used to pride myself on how good I could chop tape with a razor blade, but
wow.
Anyway, so then we kind of became big fish in a little pond, and we moved to Nashville. And to make a long story short, I was hired as an audio engineer, trained as an audio engineer. So I did engineering and kind of leveraged that into producing. And I started a production company doing music for advertising, like jingles, TV commercials. So like the 1990s, the early 2000s were really our heyday. Yep. Won a bunch of awards.
Did you win a Clio?
Yes.
You won a Clio? That was like my Grammy for a while. I was like, all right, I'm not going to get a Grammy, but I'm going to get a Clio, which is like the Grammys of advertising. You won a Clio, Rob? That's for what commercial?
We won we won the what do you call it? National Advertising Federation. We won a bunch of awards with them. We won some stuff at something called the New York One Show. Which, man, honestly, these were so obscure. I did a lot of stuff for, okay, this is how old this is. Southwestern Bell. Okay.
Oh, I did one for Singular back when Singular was a phone company. Yeah. Southwestern Bell. Exactly. I remember that.
Yeah. So, you know, okay, this is how far back I go. When Blockbuster Video was a new thing, I did jingles for them.
I love that.
So, but some of my bigger clients were like Walmart and Nike and Cracker Barrel. Did tons of stuff for those guys, hundreds of national apps. Anyway, we did that and it kind of ran its course. And what I do now, worship music basically changed the whole trajectory of my life. And the last 15-ish years, I've been really involved in music ministry, like on staff at different churches as a music minister. And as far as the art part of my music, it's writing praise and worship music from a singer-songwriter, kind of rock and roll meets, you know, James Taylor, singers, you know, classic singer-songwriter kind of a vibe. And that's really all I've been passionate about for the last 15, 20 years, something like that.
Yeah. Oh, I love the story. And I also, I mean, as someone that shifted from my first job in the music industry was in the advertising world, and I hung out there for a couple of years. So like, I feel like I didn't hang out there long enough to actually make any marks like you did. So it's really cool to hear someone going from one totally different area of the entertainment world in general. So you can't even call it the music industry, but you are, you know, part of that. And then to make such a pivot, it's sort of been one of the words of the night. I love a good pivot story. I really do. And we've all been pivoting a lot recently. So I think that's always inspiring.
Yeah. And for me, it's been multiple pivots, which I think that's just what anybody who's serious about, you know, music and the intersection of art and music, you've just got to be able to pivot. Nothing is forever these days.
Yeah.
And then part of it's just responding to the season that you're in, So I never in a million years, like I honestly wasn't seeing myself as like an artist, but that's really what, not necessarily an artist, but I have songs, right, that I want to get out there. That's why I'm leveling up with your group, which I think is fantastic, by the way.
Oh, thanks. Yeah,
and
that was gonna be my next question. You've got it all together. You've got your passion. You've got your clarity. What are you doing? What are you doing hanging out with us? I mean, it actually was really a lot of sense. You're like, cool, I've got all this stuff behind me. How do you leverage it? But yeah, I wanted to hear what made you join initially, because I always think that that's interesting too.
Well, sure. So it's so funny. I think the day I got one of your emails that was promoting the $1 try our course out for a week for $1, and that day for some reason, like, I was so frustrated with the results I was getting in terms of the things I was doing musically. I'm proud of my music, but like as far as the attention it's getting and that kind of stuff, I'm like, man, I was thinking about maybe I need to see a psychiatrist, right? And so I go to your thing and I'm like, it was awesome. And I think that was the day Stephanie was on and she did an exercise on the vision board.
Yeah.
And the vision board thing was phenomenal. And I'm like, you know what? $37 a month, that's a heck of a lot cheaper than a psychologist.
Oh my God. I love that. That's going to be my new, I've been saying it's less than a tank of gas and no one's driving, so you have that money, but I'm going to be using that quote from now on. Thank you.
Please do. I mean, I've gotten training and life coaching and this kind of stuff. And I have to say, you are an extremely skillful coach. You're great, man. And this community, I mean, I'm kind of an odd duck, I'm sure, in a lot of ways here, but I just felt like it's my I belong here. You know what I mean?
You know how many people feel like they're odd ducks in this community. So I think we're actually what do you call a flock of ducks that are all the odd ducks? Like I feel like that's okay. Like we're kind of sticking out in our own worlds, in our own circles. And I don't see you as I don't see anyone as an odd duck really, because I think that that's a great characteristic. Everyone's got their thing. And I think the common denominator is we're all passionate about this, whatever this is. And now it's like, cool, how can we get it out there better? And or what's the missing piece that could have this be like truly extraordinary?
Exactly. And I love the diversity and the spirit of inclusivity that's there. And you have a lot of different people at very different stages of that musician success cycle, and then on different places on the spiral, also. So, it's funny. I find I can learn something from just about everybody, no matter where they are, so it's been great. So it keeps you motivated and keeps you on course, because like a lot of creative people, I'm very much squirrel,
Yeah. So I mean, that movie Up is so brilliant, because I'm like, oh my God, that's literally
I love that dog.
Every musician I've ever met. Squirrel. Squirrel. Yeah. So good. So good. I'm so glad that you're in this community and that you were able to actually pull over and get some internet and do this. It's actually been good. I was curious. I think we're going to move our monthly In the Key concert series to StreamYard, because the sound quality is just so much better than Instagram, and I'm able to put it onto YouTube and Facebook, and I think that this feels good.
You should do this. Yeah,
it's cool, right? It's easy.
Yeah.
So well, Rob, thank you so much. Safe drive the rest of your drive. Thanks for being here. We're going to bring on Kathryn here to close it out, but really appreciate
Thanks, Cheryl. God bless you. It was great.
Thanks. Bye.
All right. See you.
All right, everyone. We've got 2 minutes to bring on Kathryn. Maybe she'll come on a minute early. I don't know. She's also a generous soul, like literally everyone else that's been on this call. So if you're curious, if you're watching, we've got a bunch of people watching. This is awesome. If you're not already in Amplify, the time is now, y'all. It's time to go to inthekey.co/amplify and just sign up. Try it for a month. You can cancel anytime. No big deal. I don't think you'll want to, but we've got our party our kickoff party for this new, I guess it's like a semester, July 17th. I have no idea if that's forward or backwards because you know how. So I've got the back. Is it backwards, Kathryn? Which one? This one? This one. This one. Okay, July 17th is when we have our first big kickoff. There's stuff happening before then. But so you want to get in. So we're going to bring in Kathryn Mahler from Canada, all the way from Canada, straight to her laptop or computer. I don't even know. So let's do that. And let's get rid of this banner so we can see your name. Hello.
Hello.
Thank you so much for being here.
Well, you're welcome.
You requested the tail end of the evening here. So what have you been up to? You do a lot of things musical all day long.
Yeah, so I was at my teaching studio today. I was teaching my private students, and then I needed to buy some groceries and have time to drive home before hopping online with you.
Yay! Love it. So how does teaching in person work now?
Well, the building that I teach in is locked, so no one else can get in. I have to go greet my students at the door, and then we walk up to the building. Our staircases are labeled. One is up, one is down. We wear masks in the hallways, maintain social distancing. I have tape on my floor so that my students and I are 2 meters apart. We each have our own music stands now. So, you know, my student has their music stand with a copy of whatever we're working on, and I have a music stand with a copy of whatever we're working on. Hand sanitizer inside the door. Then it used to be that my students were allowed to wait in the hallway, and then, you know, like one would go in and one would come out. But now we end lessons a little early so that there's no overlap in between students. There's an exit door from the building, which is separate from the entrance door. I sanitize the area in between students. So yeah, that's what it looks like now.
All the things. And we didn't even tell people what you're teaching.
I am teaching violin and or fiddle, depending on the student.
Yes, and that is your instrument. So yeah, give us. We're sort of going backwards. We're telling the stories before we get the world of it, but that's okay. Give us the snapshot of you as a musician. What's up?
So musically speaking, I play the violin. I play classical violin with the Symphony New Brunswick. I play Baroque violin. So I actually have a violin that was made in the 1700s, and I play it with gut strings and a historical bow. And so we play music from the 1700s. And then I play Celtic music, and I have a 4-piece band, and I do solo shows. I've recorded and released 6 solo albums, and then my band has released an album as well. And I have my private teaching, and then in the past, I've been in the school system as well, running extracurricular programs for violin.
Amazing. And is your husband in the band project?
Yes, my husband is in the band project with me.
And he's the percussionist?
Yes, he is.
I think that's so cool. I think I saw I don't know if it was a live, I think it was a live video where he came in and he had a big, I don't know, what was the drum? It was a thin, but really big sort of flat, that mallet thing. What do you call that?
It's called the boron.
Boron.
And it's an Irish drum. And yeah, you sit it up. So it's up and down. And then it has a 2-headed tipper is what they call it. And you actually play the drum with both ends of this tipper.
It was really cool. I was like, I love Celtic music in general, and I love that sound of that. But I was like, I have never seen that kind of the combination of all the things was really interesting to watch. And you've had a remarkable career. If you took away literally everything you did except for how you've engaged with your fans in live streaming way before COVID. Tell us about that, because I think that you were like literally years ahead of the times, so to speak.
Yeah, I jumped on Facebook Live in 2016. The fall of 2016 was when I did my first ever Facebook Live. And I entered it with the plan of doing a weekly show with my guitarist called Tea and Tunes. And that's because my guitarist and I just love hanging out and playing music, and we always drink tea. Every rehearsal, that's what we do. We hang out, we drink tea, we talk, and we play music. And so when Facebook Live became a thing, I was like, oh, we could do this in front of people.
I love that. Oh, people might want to watch us talk and drink tea and play music. I love it.
And so we've done it pretty much every week. You know, we've taken a couple weeks off here and there. I think we're around episode 180 now. So we've been doing it.
180. That's amazing. I want to talk more about how amazing that was. But one thing I realized I forgot, I did for literally all other 8 people, but I forgot with Rob was to ask where people can find him online. So he just typed in the chat box that you can go to robstillmusic.com. I'm going to type it in so it goes to YouTube too. So sorry, Kathryn, but I feel really bad that I missed. robstillmusic.com is Rob, and you can get 3 of his best songs. So thank you for pausing, Kathryn. I didn't want to shortchange Rob there after that.
Oh, not a problem.
Okay. So you've been doing this since 2016, 180 of these. And how do people learn about it organically? Did you promote them hardcore? Or was it just a thing people showed up for? And how did it change 3-4 months ago when COVID started?
So it's just been organic. You know, we put out posts and we share posts, but I haven't done ads. I really haven't tried to build the Facebook Live per se. You know, it's something that my fans know about and come to and enjoy.
Yeah.
I lost the next part of your question. There was something else, right?
How did it pivot, or did you see any shifts in the audience during COVID when more people were home?
Right. Yeah. So we do our show in the middle of the afternoon, which is a terrible time to do a live show, but it's when we're both available.
It used to be a terrible time.
And it's when my guitarist and I are available. And honestly, when you're doing Facebook Lives, it's more about the replays than people being there live. You know, it's great to have people there live and to talk to them, but the replays are so powerful. You know, you get a lot of traction from the replays. And once COVID-19 hit, all of a sudden people were home and they were watching live. And it was really a lot of fun to have more people there watching right when we were doing it. Well, when I was doing it, because my guitarist, you know, we weren't isolating together. So the Tea and Tunes had to become Kathryn Mahler without her guitarist. And we just started playing again recently as things are opening up here in New Brunswick.
That's awesome. Tell us about the other opportunities that you got to perform when COVID hit. Because I know you were someone that lost a lot of gigs performing live.
Right. Yeah. So COVID hit and I lost over 50% of my income to gigs that were canceled. And so there were a lot of tears about that. But music is supported really well here. And my provincial music association held a series of concerts, and I was asked to play one of those. And then I also got to play a concert for the National Arts Centre. And so this was a program where musicians all across Canada applied to be a part of this. And I was selected. And Cheryl's heard the story, but I applied 3 times.
Yeah, you applied 3 times, and then you got accepted, and they paid you in the middle of a pandemic a lot of money to play in front of thousands of people on their Facebook page, right? That's how that went down.
That is how that went down. It was amazing. It was the video with the most views that I've ever had live, for sure. And, you know, the replays have been amazing too, and lots of comments. And, you know, without this opportunity, I certainly would not be doing solo shows to, you know, 5,000 people.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of crazy that people all over can watch. I mean, you told us in the group and we were able to go watch, and like it's not like anyone was going to get on a plane. Although I heard as soon as you said, "Oh, they support artists really well here," I heard like 16 different suitcases closing and being like, "All right, we're going to New Brunswick, let's go." Because I think that's a rarity, and so that's amazing that you have that experience there. So what we met a while ago, and we've sort of been running in the same circles. You are, you know, associated with Bree Noble, who I love, and Rick and stuff like that. But what brought you to Amplify? And I know we were working together. But yeah, and I guess I brought you to Amplify. I was like, you're getting in this group, I think that was, I can't remember exactly.
So I had maxed out what I could do. I've been self-employed for 15 years, doing the music thing, doing really well, paying my bills, like everything's great. But I realized earlier this year that doing what I'm currently doing, doing what I was doing, I had maxed out what I could make. And so I was looking for something else. I was looking for a different way to do things and a way to get past that and a way to figure it out. And you just happen to be having a week of sign up for a call with me and we'll see if we like each other.
That's right. That's what I did. I got on the phone with like so many musicians that week. And I did not like all of them, just so you know.
And so, yeah, we got on a call together and, it went really well. And then I decided to work with you as a private client. And at that point, the group was a bonus that came with working with you privately. So I was like, okay, I'll check this out. And before the first regular call I was supposed to attend was the end of March. So before that, we leapt into daily meetings. And so that was my introduction to the group, was meeting every day.
Oh my gosh, that's right. You had never experienced when it was just like, we used to meet, that would be the last Wednesday of every month, and we would like share all the wins from the month and say, hey, what was the thing we wanted to do this month? Did we do it? Let's look at the data. We would talk about something, clear some block, a money block or something around licensing. We talk about something, and then we'd create our goals for the next month. And we just would sort of hold each other accountable. The Facebook group was to sort of give updates throughout the month. But yeah, COVID hit and I knew a lot of musicians were losing money. I knew a lot of people were quarantining alone. And so I was like, I'm not traveling anymore. I had a ton of travel plans that got canceled. So I was kind of like twiddling my thumbs and I was like, I can do this every day. So let's get on this. Let's do a coaching call every day. And so you came in right when it was like, boom, Insta community.
Yeah.
As much Cheryl as you can possibly handle. So, and you're still here. So it clearly wasn't like the worst thing in the world.
Yeah.
But I'm so glad you are. You really are. And you're one of the, I think a lot of people are in the phase 2, 3, or 4 where they're creating, they're setting themselves up, or they're in pitching mode, looking to move forward through that phase 5 where you're monetizing and bringing the gigs in and saying yes to stuff coming in before you reinvest in something. And then you start leveling up again, but you're going around that circle starting from phase 1, but building on top of everything. So I think you're one of those people that's actually in 5 and probably about to loop around to 1 again pretty soon. I know that you're looking to produce your own music now, which is so exciting. I always love that. It's so empowering to be able to take what's in here and get it out yourself rather than try to like communicate that with words with engineers. The good ones are always the ones that can actually take your gibbly gibberish and turn it into great music. So yeah, what do you think about that, where you are and how does that feel, just knowing that?
Yeah, I'm absolutely 5 transitioning into 1, or possibly 1 transitioning into 2, but beyond 5. And I was thinking about it as I was driving home today, and I was thinking about, I figured out how to teach privately and have a successful studio. So that was, a cycle around the 5 steps,
Yep.
right? And then gigs, right? I have, this past week, I've booked 4 gigs.
Wow.
And I only reached out to 2, and it was really easy because I have a relationship with them. So I wrote and said, hey, do you have a gig for me? And they wrote back, said, yeah, absolutely. Right? So I've put the work into gigging and to making those connections. And so, I've gone around the cycle for gigging. And now, as you know, I'm working on launching online courses. Yep. So I was able to transition my private teaching online. And now I'm looking at doing courses and then the recording, right? So those are 2 things where I'm headed around again.
Yeah, you're learning and you're creating the stuff. And I love that. It's so empowering to be like, yeah, I'm here again and it's a fresh start, but it's built on all this other stuff. Like none of it was a waste. And it's all helping you level up and in the relationships you build. And you're just, yeah, you're getting dizzy. You're going around it. So it's so awesome. I mean, it's so cool that you're now are creating online courses for people that want to learn how to fiddle. But where can people find out listen to your amazing music? Cause it is just so joyful and it's gorgeous. And also your course. Does it all live in one place?
It does. It all lives on my website.
Which is,
I know. Isn't that amazing?
Yes. I'm typing it in now. I think it's KathrynMahler.com, or is it Kathryn Mahler Music? I forget.
KathrynMahler.ca.com will get you there too, but I know.
KathrynMahler.ca. There we go. That is where you can find all of the things about Kathryn. Thank you so much for doing this and taking time out of your day. Really, it's a joy to have you in this group. I love your clarity and your direction and just how you work at it. And also, Kathryn has like the most amazing bullet journal, and she shares it with people in the group, and everyone gets like super envious because it's just like the best handwriting, and like your organization and just the joy that's in how you've created your life is like very inspiring. I love it. So kudos to you.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. Have a wonderful rest of your evening. And I'm going to drink my last sip of wine here as my champagne win that you all are so amazing. And it's Josh's birthday tomorrow if you missed him. And the fact that we got to see what a cat keyboard is from Gail. If you didn't see that, that was in the first 45 minutes, and just beautiful stories from Charmin and Keisha and Wanda and Victoria sharing, and Rob stopping. This has been so fun. I love this community. So thank you so much for being here. If anyone's curious how they can get in, just head on over to inthekey.co/amplify. We would love to meet you. So with that, I will say good night. Good night.